Hello, Bolts fans, and welcome to another episode of ChargersCast. ChargersCast is a podcast about everything Los Angeles Chargers, by fans, for fans. Appreciate you guys joining us this week, where we'll be covering the week... Do I have the wrong sheet? Nope, I don't. The Week 10 game versus the Titans. That was a road game. Early time frame, cold weather game back in Tennessee. And then we will roll into the Week 11 home game, Sunday night football game against the Pittsburg Steelers. And today was the trade deadline, and so we will discuss, we have things to discuss, which is awesome, regarding the Chargers roster, and some of it not so awesome. So that's a double-edged sword there. It's probably a lot more less awesome than awesome, but we're still here to discuss it with you guys for all of the diehard Bolts fans out there. As you can see, friend of the podcast, friend of mine, Brennan Isham from Chargers District is here this week. You've been here way more than you have not this season, which I greatly appreciate, and I'm sure all the other fans out there do as well. So good to see your face, my friend. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Yeah, third week in a row I've been here, so that's pretty good. Life's been a little less crazy on that. So, but it's always good. Like I said last week, it's always good when Chargers win. It's always good to talk about the Chargers all the time. You know, ain't nothing better than talking about your favorite teams. So, especially for us diehard fans. So,
amen, brother.
Nice.
Through thick and thin, through good and bad, and Lord knows we have the entire spectrum as Chargers fans.
Yep.
Every season, pretty much, to talk about, and this week is no different. We got a lot to cover, and relatively short time to cover it. So let's get rolling. First things first, nice frosty beverage. You can guess it, or I can do the reveal. Just a standard little Dos Equis lager. Got to keep those vocal cords liquefied while we do the pod. Cheers, my friend. Cheers to a W, by the way. Chargers 6-3. And while it wasn't pretty, and the season hasn't been pretty for the most part, a couple parts have been pretty, but boy, those All-Navies were pretty, and that victory in the All-Navies was pretty. But hey, we're in the thick of the playoff hunt, and when you consider everything we've gone through to get here, I'll take it. So cheers.
Yep, cheers on that.
Cheers, Bolt fans. An extra long tug.
Yeah, that's the longest one.
Definitely needed. It's been a long day at the office too, so let's rock and roll, man. So Week 10, road game in Tennessee. It looked cold. It was cold. So we got a West Coast team going East Coast. Again, early time frame. Man, let's just run down this real quick, because as we were chatting about kind of in the green room, kind of a little bit of the same old story. I don't want to say it's a broken record, but the same themes keep presenting themselves. In this case, we got the W. So, you know, at the end of the season, when you stack W's, you don't remember how ugly a lot of those W's were. And sometimes you have ugly W's, right? I mean, it's the nature of football. And so at the end of the season, you just count the wins and the losses. You don't go back and go, oh, yeah, that one was really ugly, you know. And this one, it should have been a blowout. But started out, we shot ourselves in the foot. Second offensive play, Justin throws just an atrocious pick six. I mean, he could have just walked up and handed it to the linebacker and said, here, just go score. I mean, literally, it was that bad. The beautiful thing about it is I think that woke Justin up, a little fire under him, and he brought his A game after that. I mean, like, A game plus after that, and we can touch on that. I mean, he brought it. But late first quarter, typical Chargers. Okay, we spot them 7 with the pick 6. Typical Chargers. Punt return, 67 yards for another touch. So now we've spotted these guys 14 unearned points, and just as Chargers fans who've been through this, you're going, shit, I've seen this story before. I know how this ends. All right? We end up losing to an inferior team because we played down to our competition. But that story didn't play out this week. So some good things ended up happening, and Justin was probably the pinnacle of that. We had Derwin back, which was nice. He brought a little edge to the D. Defense played well. We did not allow an offensive touchdown, just field goals against Tennessee, which was awesome. We spotted them 14 points, one special teams, and one pick six. Ended up winning the game 27-20. It should have been 27-6. I mean, really, it should have been 27-6. We gave them a free 14 points, and our defense basically just took care of their business. After the Justin pick six, he took care of his business. We'll go over some stats. And special teams has been very uneven this season, and I'm a little surprised because I think Ryan's a great coach, and I think part of it has been turnover. And some of these rookies that we brought in, we lost Nick in the offseason, if you remember, Nick Neiman, which he was a special teams ace, and so there's been some turnover on special teams. And then we lost our long snapper, and sure as crap, this new long snapper, who's an experienced dude, but my God, he's firing balls over here that JK has to be like a yoga contortionist to get him and bring him down. So, don't want to leave that unnoticed as well. But give me your overall take as well, Brennan. I mean, I'm going to run down some of the stats here, and the score is not going to reflect these stats.
Yeah, I think it was a way closer game than it really looked on paper. But it was it wasn't even, to me, we were always gonna win. It looked like a trap game at first, but if you look at the circumstances, like you said, I feel like that was an out of nowhere pick six, like a rare Justin Herbert pick six, and then I feel like punt and kick returns in the NFL, no matter what, are always when it comes to probability and stats, it's always trending downwards for them scoring, obviously. The odds are always stacked against them. So I feel like it was just one of those kind of let him slip once. I don't really think that's going to happen again. They've had big runs, the other teams, so hopefully we can get it under control. We'll talk about this more, but the Jasir Taylor, everybody's freaking out because of but Dean Leonard's coming back, so it can just swap, and I like Dean personally a little better as a player. I think he plays better. So, overall, I think you said it perfect. The number one takeaway I think about this game was it was just very lackluster. We shouldn't beat them. We should have beat them by 40, and I'm seeing all these memes saying, you almost lost to the worst team and beat them by 7. And just to make matters worse, you lose your star O-lineman for the rest of the season. That's my biggest takeaways. Losing your biggest lineman to a game that didn't really even matter that much. So in the long run, we probably could have lost, and we still could have made playoffs, or we should have won in a big margin anyways. So he should...
Yeah. And we obviously the elephant in the room is the loss of Joe Alt, and I think that's probably where we'll most likely spend most of our time. Just kind of talking about that. But I don't know how, if Joe's healthy, which he was, relatively speaking, I don't know how you go into that game going, well, it's an inferior opponent, so we're going to sit him. Right? I mean, we know how important he is to the line, and how bad would those more fair-weathered fans be screaming and hollering if we sat Joe while he's healthy, and we ended up losing that game. We spotted these guys 14 points, and in most instances, that's a recipe for disaster, and you're going to lose that game. And boy, they were bringing the heat. Okay, Justin he got sacked, what was it, 5 times in this game? I've got that stat in here somewhere. Sacks. Yeah, I believe it was 5 sacks. Maybe it was 6. No, it was 6 sacks. So they were bringing the heat on Justin. And I think every team in the NFL is going to bring the heat on us until we prove we can stop it, right? And our line's decimated, and we're going to get into that. So I don't know how you would have sat Joe. The reality is the trenches are called the trenches for a reason. They're dirty. They're, all the big boys, getting physical down in there. It is not a place for the faint of heart. And that crap happens constantly. And it was just a freak accident. And by the way, I think it was an old former Charger who actually took him out, Sebastian Joseph Day. If I am not mistaken, he missed Justin and wiped out Alt while Alt was engaged with his defensive end. So just freak accident, but as we all know by now, Joe's gone. Okay, that was late in the second quarter. Joe's done for the season. So now our stud left and right tackles that we were sitting there going into the season, we're like, Slater's re-signed, Alt's second year. This is, right? We've got the line, even though the interior line is still not perfect. We brought in Mekhi Becton, right? And we're heading into the season going, this is Harbaugh football. And look where we sit. Week 10, we've lost both our stud tackles. We're starting 6th, 7th string guys. Becton's been in and out of the lineup with injuries. Our line is, I'm calling them at this point, they're a walking MASH unit. I mean, it's just like, right? It'd be like one of those war posters where they've got bandages around their head and, they're on crutches and, it's just a ragtag unit. I think we'll get Deculus back this week, I think. Bobby Hart's injury, he went out this game too, by the way. I don't think he was hurt too bad. They say it was groin. Those can linger, though. And so, yeah, let's go over some stats real quick, okay? Because this game wasn't this close. We gave them a free 14 points, and in most weekends, you'll lose that game, giving any team a free 14 points. But let's go over some stats real quick. Like I said, the defense did not allow the Titans to score an offensive touchdown. Time of possession, which you guys know is a big deal for me, because I believe the best defense is a good offense, right? You keep the opposing offense off the field, and you don't throw pick sixes, they can't score, right? So it's huge. So 35 minutes to us, 25 minutes to them, okay? Huge. Not as big as last week at 40-20, but if anytime you're getting 35 to 25, that's huge. Let's see. Total plays. Offensive. 65 us, 44 them. Kind of matches up with the time of possession. Total yards. 343 for us, 206 for them. 131 rushing to 88 rushing, 212 passing to 118. I mean, dominant. I mean, really, it was dominant, even when we're like handing them points. Penalties, it was relatively clean for us this week. We only had 3 penalties that were taken against us, and the Titans only had 7, which isn't huge, so it's relatively penalty-free game. And then that only turnover was that pick 6 by Justin. So if you just looked at the numbers after the game, you would have thought, yeah, this was easily 30-6, 27-6, 33-6. Easily. But, we made some critical mistakes that luckily didn't cost us the win.
Yeah, it was... The offense still seems to keep ramping up, no matter what I'm not talking about the offensive line struggles, but the receivers and the tight ends and the running backs, they all seem to be getting everything going along. I don't know why Justin Herbert doesn't use his legs more. It's beyond me. He just kills it there. So they're just opening everything up. I really like what they're doing because earlier in the season, they weren't really fully connecting. So now that they have everybody, really good chemistry within each other. I feel like it's working really well for the offense. The defense still, killed it, but we're talking about the worst team in the league here. So giving them only 6 points is good, but it's not like something doing it against the Lions or Chiefs or Ravens or someone like that. So, I like to see Trey Harris getting some more reps. It looks like him blocking is working because he's getting the ball more, and that third down stretch was really nice. That was a good football IQ there. But I think everything was working out well for the offense. Defense was pretty, like I said, pretty well. But I liked seeing the overall scheme of what the offense was doing with the 11 and 12 man personnel, trying to get stuff open for Kamani. So I want to talk about that later on too, because I really think we did need a running back, in my opinion. I know you were really against that, but since Amari Hampton's not coming back after the bye now, Kamani Vidal has had 2 good games out of the 4, and they were against 2 of the worst rushing defenses in the league, like 31 and like 32 I'm talking about. Yeah. So I would like to see that a little more. I think the run game could have got opened up more. Justin Herbert, I'm pretty sure, has the most rushing yards on our team, almost by like 10 yards. So I would like to have seen that. I would like to have seen something open up a little more. But I know that was a lot right there. But I like to see everything that I was seeing. We already know. I was talking to you about this earlier. The same things that we're complaining about happened already. They already happened. They happened again. So I'm trying to find other new things that are good, so we're not sounding like broken records.
Yeah, and everything you're talking about here, Brennan, it's football 101. It really irritates me when I hear all of these fans, most of them are younger, but not all of them, where they're always talking about the wide receivers and stuff. And, the wide receivers are the window dressing on a football team, okay? It's the lines, offensive and defensive. It all starts in the trenches. And then QB. You gotta have a QB in today's NFL. You have to. And of course, we've got ours. Our guy's a stud in every metric other than playoff wins. And those will come. They will come. He's got the coaching now. And so, you're talking about you'd like to have seen Kamani get more. That all starts at the line, okay? This line is a patchwork. And so they don't have that cohesiveness. I do believe offensive lines, kind of by their nature, are typically going to be better at run blocking sooner than they'll be better at pass blocking, because it's the nature of an offensive line, right? They're big bodied guys and they want to go forward and take the fight to the defense. And Kamani got some good runs there. And by the way, so did Jared Patterson.
Yeah.
I'm glad we were able to protect him and keep him around, because he's a stud. He had a hell of a college career. He's had great preseasons with us. And so personally, just me personally, kind of like wide receivers, not quite the same, but a little bit. You're talking about the skill positions. A good line will make an average back. Look at the old Denver Broncos, man. They were putting up 1,000-yard rushers with 6th-round picks and undrafted free agents season after season, all right? So priority, it wasn't that I wouldn't have loved to have had Breece Hall over here. Dude, the guy's awesome, okay? He's awesome, period. I would love to have had him in lightning bolts. But if I had to choose another running back versus a viable offensive lineman, let's not screw around with this discussion, okay? Forget about playoffs, forget about Super Bowls right now. We have an entire half of a season still to play, and we've got this $50-something million a year stud quarterback in his prime that we cannot afford to get him killed. Okay, forget the playoffs at this point. The guy's got to play. Unless we want to bench him and put Trey in, which we aren't going to do, not at 6-3 and in the playoff hunt. So priority number one is protecting Justin, period. And then one of the things you talked about is Justin using his legs more, and I am 100% behind that. Especially if he's going to be getting hit, I would much rather him get hit on the defensive side of the line of scrimmage, where he's picking up some yards, than losing yards and getting sacked behind the line of scrimmage. So if you've got to choose, hey, dude, you've got the wheels. I mean, I love when he ran over that defensive end to pick up those last 2 yards and get that first down. The announcers loved it. They're like, man, this is beautiful. And then he also took on a safety or a defensive back on another one. Justin's got that capability. I'd much rather him be the aggressor and gaining yards than getting decimated and just chuck and duck behind the line of scrimmage. So he's got to pick his spots. He can't do it every single rep, but the more he does it, the more he keeps the defense on their heels.
Yeah.
So it looked good. It looked really good to see him in this game be aggressive, and he was like by far the leading rusher in this game. It wasn't even close.
Yeah, he a lot of people don't always recall his college career, but a lot of people don't realize that he was more of a dual threat QB than anything. He used his legs way more than he does in the NFL, and that's just how it's always been since he got drafted. But
yeah, I was going to say, if you let me interrupt here, one of the big things was coming out of college. I think the reason he fell to us, because Burrow and Tua were selected before him, was that Rose Bowl where he won it, but he won it with his legs, right? And so there were two knocks on Justin. Was he wasn't as, what's the word I'm looking for? Accomplished. He wasn't as accomplished with his arm. And then he was a quiet leader. He wasn't one of those outspoken leaders. And we can see it to this day, right? He's not that guy. I think in the confines with his guys, he's totally vocal. When he's comfortable with them, it's kind of like how I am. I'm not just going to walk up to a stranger and be like, hey, but once I get to know you, hey, man, I'll tell you exactly what I think. And if I need to push you, or coddle you, whatever the case may be. So I think Justin's a perfect mix of all of those things. But that's exactly the knock on him was when he won the Rose Bowl, he scored 3 touchdowns with his legs. And so everybody's kind of like, well, I don't know if the guy's got the arm. And it wasn't arm strength. It was his precision. Man, the dude can, his precision's pretty good. I'd like to see a little more touch when he needs to get a little bit more loft, because he's throwing darts and lasers all day long. But, his legs, he needs to use them. They're a weapon. His size is a weapon. I don't know if I was given an opportunity, and this is a whole nother podcast we could do. Seriously, maybe it's an off-season podcast we do. Of all of the quarterbacks in the NFL, who would you choose over Justin if you had the choice and you could just swap out quarterbacks? That would be an interesting mental exercise, but I don't know. It just off the top of my head, I don't think there's a single one, period. And there's some good quarterbacks in this league, so.
Oh, I can name 3 off the back.
That you would swap out for Justin?
Yeah. Patrick Mahomes, I don't care. He's one of the best of all time already. What he's already had to accomplish. And people cannot say he's had the best of the best, because he's had Travis Kelce. His receivers
have always been the best of coaching.
Yes, and then I would I'm talking about current players. We'll get into this in a different pod, but Josh Allen, and I would probably pick Lamar, because the duel, 2021 and also that 2019 MVP Lamar season, man. So, but that's it.
Who his offensive coordinator was that 2019 season?
No. Oh, Greg Roman. Yeah, Greg Roman. Yep.
Just saying, for all those G-Row haters out there. That is such a major tangent that was not intended for this podcast, but we gave you guys some food for thought. Comments down below on that shit, because that is an absolute... We don't want to have this discussion during the season, but it is definitely something that if I get some comments down below, and you guys want to have this discussion, we can definitely have it in an off-season pod, because I think it would be entertaining to have. So we know where Brennan stands. Justin is his fourth favorite quarterback in the NFL. And
no.
Justin, if you're watching this, dude, don't take it personally. All right, what else we got to cover here before we keep rolling? Let's just hit it. Joe Alt, he's out. Salyer came in. Joe Alt's out for the season. So Slater's out. Alt's out. Salyer came in and played left tackle, which personally I think is his natural position. If you're going to pick any spot on the line for Salyer to play and be his best, doesn't mean he's the best in the league, but his best, I think is left tackle. We saw what he did when Slater went out, was it 3 seasons ago? It was Salyer's rookie season. He played not just kind of pass, it was, it was serviceable. He actually played pretty friggin' well. And he did so in this game as well. He actually played a pretty decent game. Bobby Hart went down actually before Joe went down, and Pipkins came in at right tackle, and he was Pipkins. I mean, I can't belabor it. He's just not that good. I mean, he's just not. He's okay. He's the guy that you would use the term serviceable. I'm sorry. He's serviceable. He's a great backup, but that dude, we need to put Tucker Fisk and then Matlock. I mean, we need some bodies over on that side to provide some additional assistance, which we did, by the way. Defense played great. We got 4 sacks, held them to just over 200 yards, and did not allow any offensive touchdowns. So it was an improvement on the defensive side of the ball. But Brennan, you called it what it was, which is it wasn't like we were going up the against the cream of the crop offense of the league. Rookie quarterback Mike McCoy, who's still the offensive coordinator, even though he's been promoted to the interim head coach. So that is what it is. But I'm glad we're having this conversation versus, oh my God, what did we just let these guys do to us when they're that offense, right? Yeah. So we took care of business on the defense side of the ball. Special teams had some, we already talked about it, had some issues, which we've had a few this season, both on the snaps and some returns, long returns, and in this case, a touchdown. So, let's wrap
another
up this
good
game.
Oway performance.
What's that?
Sorry to interrupt you, but another Oway performance, another great one for him. 2 sacks, I'm pretty sure. So.
Yeah, thank you. Is it
going
5
to week
sacks?
5, 0 sacks. And then since then, he's had 4, so that's awesome.
Yeah, 4 sacks in 4 games. He really seems like he is enjoying being a Charger. He's getting an opportunity. He's taking advantage of it. So I appreciate you reminding us to just give him his props because he's earned it. Man, he looks the part. I tell you, man, you look at him, you're like, oh, that dude is an edge.
Yeah.
Everything about him is an edge. So I'm glad we got him. And again, we didn't have to give up much for him. And he's enjoying wearing the lightning bolt. So, we talked about the injuries. Bobby Hart, Joe Alt gone. Becton was not in this game. I hope we get him back for the Steelers game. Still was out in this game. Hopefully we'll be getting him back. But yeah, let's put a bow on this one, which I would just say, hey, we took care of business. It wasn't the prettiest. We made some costly, 14 points worth of costly mistakes. But fortunately for us, we took care of business and got out with the W. Like I said, they don't, unless you get into like 3 deep in tiebreakers, the point spread doesn't matter. How ugly it was doesn't matter. It's, do you put the dub up on the board? And we did, and we're sitting at 6-3. Now, the friggin' Donkeys pulled out another one, which just pisses me off again. They just pulled another one. They should have lost that game. And they pulled it out again, so hats off to them. So we're still behind those guys with 1 game, but don't forget we're 3-0 in the division. And we got the tiebreaker. And guess what? Our final game in Week 18 is against Donkeys. So that could be a huge, huge, meaningful game, potentially, if everybody keeps, holding their own here. So trade deadline was today at 1:00, and my goodness, you could see the Chargers fans on social media absolutely stressing out big time, dude. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I'm sitting there popping in periodically, and just the stress level, you're seeing this trade go down. Sauce Gardner got traded, and, their stud defensive tackle got traded. And several other trades are going down. Stud linebacker from the Bengals got traded. Doesn't look like they traded their defensive end. Nobody was willing to pay for him. A couple other people, but like the Chargers fans are like, come on, man. Come on. When's it going to happen? I'm sitting there going, look, most of this stuff typically doesn't drop like until right at the deadline. Those phones are burning and they're trying to work out a deal. And the one thing I was factoring in that I don't know how much these people are thinking about this stuff. I mean, there's some really savvy fans out there, but it's very obvious what the Chargers' most desperate need is. Now, imagine being a team where Ortiz calls you up and goes, hey, you got some time to talk? Right? And, so who might you, be willing to part with on your O-line that's, reasonable? And these guys are dollar signs in their eyes, right? They're like, we got you, in a corner. We know what you need, and we're going to extort everything we possibly can get from you. And Ortiz, he's kind of like me, okay? I'm not cheap, but I do consider myself at times frugal. And it means I just don't throw money around. I'll spend money where money's needed. And this is a place where money was needed, by the way. But honestly, I think Joe did an awesome job, quite frankly. So we made a trade right at the deadline. We got Trevor Penning from the Saints. And what did it cost us? It cost us a 2027, not 2026, 2027 conditional 6th rounder. Okay. Now, this guy is in the last season of his rookie contract. So, depending on how he performs, we would need to address that at the end of the season. Which isn't a bad thing. We basically are renting him for the rest of the season to protect Justin's life, okay, for a 2027 6th round pick. I think that was an absolute steal. This guy is a former first round pick in the 2022 draft, 19th overall. The guy's versatile as heck. He's played left tackle, right guard. Durable. I mean, the guy's got plenty of starts under his belt. Last season, he started all 17 games at right tackle. He's got a lot of experience. He's 26 years old, 6'7", 325 pounds, tons of starting experience. What more could you ask for when the other 31 teams in the league know when they see Joe Ortiz's number come up on their phone, they know exactly what he's calling about? Love to hear your 2 cents on it, but I'm thinking, in a relative sense, it was a home run. When you consider all of the factors involved, absolute home run. And I wouldn't be shocked if this kid comes in at 6'6", 6'7", 325. He's only 26 years old. He's a kid, okay? He could end up absolutely surprising all of us.
Yeah, so it has been a big pattern for us to get these players and everybody I deal with it all the time on my page on these guys saying that they're going to be trash. Oh, he's bad, he's bad, he's bad. Okay, let me go down the list. Elijah Molden, Puna 4, Tier Tart, Owe. I can keep going, guys. So, Dante Jackson, I can keep going. So, it's very practical. All these other fans are butthurt just because he's not good on your team. He was on the Saints. He needs some scenery. He's tired of trying to block Spencer Rattler's bum ass. So he's, pardon my French, but
so before that.
Having the quarterback behind you, being an elite quarterback, definitely helps you become better as well. And also, people don't realize they're going off of his grade as a guard. He's going to be a tackle for us because both of our tackles are out, and people don't realize he started as a tackle. He's been a tackle his whole life, college, high school, beginning of beginning of NFL career. He just started becoming a guard, so it's very well that he's going to be really good. And all I'm saying is his grade and how he plays is still better than almost everybody we have. So that's all I'm going to say. Better than it's an upgrade either way. So what you said, I totally agree. Joe Hortiz killed it on that. And then I did want to talk about the Jasir Taylor one since I brought it up earlier. I don't know what they were doing exactly, but it's clear that they no longer saw a need for him on the team. You cannot argue with that for me because we got a 2028. It's currently 2025, by the way, guys. A 2028 condition, like 7th conditional round pick. Obviously, Joe Hortiz likes his picks, but that is one of the most meaningless picks currently that you can have in the NFL. That's a very meaningless pick right now, especially in the 7th rounders, because he has a 5th round magic. Our last 3 7th rounders have not been the greatest. So it's clear that they weren't trying to get something and then set him along with it. Like, I might as well just give him for more compensation for us. They just didn't see a need on him for him and the team. Maybe that's because of Dean Leonard coming back, Nico Reed getting some more chances, RJ Mickens getting some more chances. They can all be perfectly good gunners, better than Jasir Taylor, in my opinion. So I would love to hear your thing on that.
Yeah, I wasn't shocked. I've never been a Jasir fan. Not that I've been a Jasir hater, but side by side, I always preferred Dean Leonard. I thought Dean Leonard made more splash plays when he was called on to come in and sub out a DB since he's been on the team. Jasir was I think he's a former 6th round pick, if I'm not mistaken, 2 years ago. I think maybe 3. So as far as I'm concerned, that was a complete swap. Hortiz knows what he's got. Reed, I think Reed is got an opportunity to become a really good player, and so this gives him more opportunity by offing Jasir. So I was perfectly fine with it, quite frankly, because you don't know what Joe's going to do. He could package that 7 and something else, and the next thing you know, he's got another pick, 5th round. Right? His magic round. So things that he got some capital. He didn't just give away. He got some capital that, a lot of guys are playing checkers, and I think Hortiz truly is oftentimes playing chess. But getting back to the really important one, which is Trevor Penning, I will not be surprised in this organization, the way they coach, the way they structure everything, if this 26-year-old, 6'7", 325-pound former first-round pick comes in and kicks some ass. Okay, look who we got at our friggin' tackles right now, Deculus and Hart. And by the way, hats off to Bobby Hart. That dude, for coming in off the street, has played his ass off. Period. You saw the drop-off when he went out and Pipkins came in? Are you kidding me?
He got the start.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know, but he got the start over Pip and all the other guys.
He did. For a reason. You saw the drop-off when he went out, and this dude was walking the streets.
Yeah, so, he's good. He was doing good for us.
Dude, I'm buying what he's cooking. I just put it that way. Ortiz he's taking care of business. And by the way, this O-line trade was not an option. Okay, I will reiterate it. This wasn't about making the playoffs, making the Super Bowl. Not that that's still not goals, but the primary goal was keeping your franchise quarterback upright all the way through the end of the season, whether that's week 18, wild card weekend, division weekend, but keeping Justin upright and healthy and fighting and giving us a chance week in and week out to win. That's what he did. And he didn't just sign this kid off the street. He gave up a 2027 sixth round pick. So not even 2026, 2027 sixth round pick for a former first rounder. So yeah. I think it was a masterful stroke personally.
Yeah, no, I agree, but I would almost argue as well, though, that it is as important for, like, the playoff push. Definitely Herbert, maybe a little more protecting him. Obviously, franchise, if he's out, we're effed. So that's just how it is. We're effed.
It's
but
what it is.
This season, that's why fans were so much like, oh, this, Chargers this, Joe this, Sleepy Joe this. So you guys got to, putting in perspective, playing devil's advocate for those guys, this is such a promising season, especially the first 3 games. Such a promising team. A lot was connecting when it came from just weird coincidences and of certain seasons compared to this season, and Jim Harbaugh's second year on this team, his second year on his first NFL team. They went to the Super Bowl. It's just a lot of things were lining up good for us, so it was just a punch in the gut for everybody to go through, like, all of these injuries, and we cannot catch a break on the line. I don't know what they did to piss off the universe, but every single guy is going down. Dude. What are the odds that you pick up a random guy off the street who hasn't played in 2 years almost, and somehow he's good, but he has to get injured too? Like, that, the odds of that is not, like, so I'm just saying it's really good to see him making a splash there, because I'm sorry, but we could definitely make a deep playoff run with the team we have. Without the 2 tackles, I'm sorry, but things can happen. There's other teams that are having worse problems than us when it comes to different positions that we can expose. Sure, they can expose our line, but we can expose other things. We got a I can argue the best trio of receivers, a 3-headed monster. I can argue we have the best in the league. We have top 5 tight end right now. It's just stat-wise. And he didn't play the last 2 games. We got arguably one of the best safeties. We got a great D-line now. Not trying to rant. The best kicker in the league. Not trying to rant, but this is a very, very good team. The O-line is the only super bad thing in my opinion. Running back, Vidal's, I know I said earlier about all that, but Vidal's doing what he needs to do until Amari Hampton gets back. Yeah. Like you said, I know your stance on that and all that, but what I'm going to end on is it can be a very, very good season. Justin could easily get his first playoff win this season, but it to save the season and to save him, in my opinion, equally the same, you needed to get another O-line. I just, knock on wood, pray to the gods, I will sell my soul, I promise. If he gets injured, that's it. I'm not watching football ever again. I'm gonna end it
I'm going to
there.
cut that shit out. That won't make it on air, just in case. No, I'll leave it there. But that's funny, dude. I know how I am. I will be taking that back at some point in the future if I said it. That's why I've been a Chargers fan for 40 plus years. But I feel you. I do feel you, and I don't disagree at all. I just from a priority standpoint, priority number one is keep Justin alive. Priority
Yep.
two is, yes, save the season. And Joe didn't just go out and get some hack, okay? He got a former first round pick. Okay, this guy was 19th overall, ton of starts, and like I said, I am not going to be shocked if he comes into our system with our stud quarterback who can make an offensive line better because of what he's capable of doing, that this guy doesn't come in and really, really surprise a lot of fans and go, whew, okay, thank God we've got this guy in here, and we do still have Deculus, and we do still have Bobby Hart, and we do still have Trey, and we do still have Salyer, and we do still have Mackay, and I'm leaving two names out on purpose. This I think was an incredible job by Joe Hortiz to not sell the farm and get a very, very capable, more than capable, not just serviceable offensive lineman who's can play tackle. And I agree with you, that's where they're going to put him, but has the ability and has the experience to come inside if need be, right? Because Mackay, he was a first-round pick, played tackle, and it wasn't until he got to Philly last season that they moved him to guard and he became a road grader, right? So we've got tons of versatility with these guys if we can just keep them healthy the rest of the way. And this is a great transition as we get ready to wrap up this podcast. This is a great transition into Week 10 with the Steelers. This perfect transition because the Steelers have the ability to make our offensive line look like shit. Between Watt and Hayward and what's the other guy, Highsmith?
Yep, and they have a guy named Nate Herbig who's also equally as menacing, who can take them down.
Yeah, okay, so we can't get Penning in soon enough and get him up to speed soon enough to get ready for this game in prime time. It's a friggin' Sunday night game, and it can be prime time super ugly, or it could end up being an absolute prime time surprise gift. I'm gonna stay on the optimistic side for now, but yeah, let's kind of roll into the Steelers game, man. Where's your head at on this thing? Like I said, they can make our O-line look really bad really quick. Not careful.
So other than last year, when Justin went out and Taylor had to go in, other than that last game with the Steelers, the Steelers versus Charger games are always primetime. I don't know if you know this. They're always primetime. They're always good. There's been a time where they've came back and beat us. There's been a time where we came back and beat us back in that 2018 season. There's just always good games. But this one, unfortunately, I don't know how it's going to go for us. They're a really good team. They're top of their division regardless of the other teams. They got some weapons, man, and they're just starting to, I feel like, fully get their momentum and put it together. They're losing some ones they shouldn't have. Now they're not. They're winning by good fashion. I'm just going to list a couple guys, and that's just already scary. Like DK Metcalf, Calvin Austin III, Jalen Warren, and you got Aaron Rodgers. And Pat Freiermuth. All those guys are respectfully pretty high ranked in their positions. So that's a hard offense. So our defense is going to have to get into it. And then our offense, their defense, where can I start? like their line, what we just said, their whole line. Then they got Joey Porter Jr. They got Jalen Ramsey. Their team is very, very well stacked. They haven't had a losing season since Mike Tomlin wasn't even there. He hasn't had a losing season since being with the Steelers. So they always find a way to win. They're what we want to be. They always find ways to win. When it looks like they're going to get obliterated, somehow they pull a win out of their ass. So I just think we need to play perfect. Like the Colts game. We didn't play perfect, and we got screwed. 6 turnovers the Steelers got from the Colts. We got really badly clapped by them, and they really badly got clapped by the Steelers. When it talks about on paper and probability-wise, that doesn't look good for us. That's all I'm going to say, and I'll end it there for now, and then I'll put some more thoughts, but it's not looking good right now if we don't play perfect, and we haven't played perfect this year, except for that Chiefs game, in my opinion.
Yeah. I appreciate you bringing up the Steelers-Colts game this past weekend, because that's what I'm thinking as I'm watching it. Isn't the NFL ironic in many ways? And after this weekend's games, we may have the statistics right in front of us, acute, not like seasons ago. But the Colts handled us. It just wasn't even close. They handled us. Okay. And of course, we didn't have Alt back yet, and now Alt's gone permanently. And so wouldn't it be interesting if the Chargers take care of business this Sunday? And so the Colts beat us handily, the Steelers beat the Colts handily, and how crazy would it be that we turn around and beat the Steelers handily?
It happens all the time. The NFL just made a post about it.
It does. Because there's matchups and, scheming and all of that stuff that goes into it too. It's just not, a horseshoe versus a Steeler. There's individual players and matchups and coaches and scheming. But you mentioned all of those things that are factors that us as fans need to be paying attention to on both sides of the ball. But I would put the emphasis that the determining factor of whether we can pull this game out this weekend or not is going to be our offense versus their defense. I think our defense, Aaron Rodgers doesn't scare me. He's still good, but he doesn't scare. He's not that guy anymore. He's still good. But he's got to have his supporting cast. He's not going to pick that team up and carry him on his back. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Freiermuth got hurt this weekend. Now, I don't think he's out for the season, but I do think he got hurt. So they may be without Freiermuth. And I don't know who their backup is behind that dude.
Darnell Washington, who's arguably as good.
Okay, he's a big dude.
And their third, who's on injury reserve, but I just want to tell you this because it's pretty cool. Their third is a guy by the name of Donald Parham Jr.
Oh, Donald Parham Jr., who's always on injured reserve. Yes, yeah. the Parmesan.
Chicken parm, yeah, but sorry to interrupt, but yeah, so he's arguably as good. What I'm trying to emphasize is they are like what we want to be. They have depth, and they are menacing in any position they have.
Yeah, and their O-line has stayed much more healthier than ours. But if I was going to say which side of the ball matchup is more critical, I think our defense can hold their own against their offense. Yeah, DK is an issue, but it's pretty rare I've seen DK take over games. The running back's good, but he's not great. I really think it's going to be, can our offense stand up against their defense? And I don't think it's going to be a shootout. Watch, I'm totally wrong. Each offense is going to go up and down the field and put up points. But I think it's really going to be who earns it. And what I mean earns it, I'm talking the down and the dirty in the trenches, because that's who the Steelers are. Like you said, that's who we want to be. Harbaugh and G-Row are coming in here trying to make the Chargers really less of a finesse team and more of an AFC North team, right? Which is, down in the trenches, down and dirty on both sides of the ball. And so whether that's a Baltimore or that's a Pittsburgh, that's the mold they're trying to create. And we're doing this now with a patchwork O-line. Our defensive line is really looking good. Oweh was a great addition. So I'm not as concerned on that side of the ball. I think the key is going to be, can our O-line stand up to Highsmith, Hayward, J.J. Watt? It's going to be a tough task. And,
especially with Hayward being in the inside.
Yeah. Justin's going to get hit in this game. You just know that from the very beginning. And, I highly recommend, like I did, in previous weeks, use your legs early so that he keeps that defense off balance. Don't wait to use your legs. Pull that out in the first quarter, at least 2 scrambles in the first quarter. Make them constantly thinking, oh, shit. And that keeps them off balance, and that'll open other things up. Yeah. And I love our weapons. You named them. I love our weapons. QJ, Keenan, Ladd. Hey, man, our rookie Trey Harris. And we're not seeing a whole lot of KLS right now. But then, throw OG on top of that. I mean, that's all great. And I think our running backs are more than capable of carrying the load for a couple more weeks until we get O'Marion back. And then I would say we got a decent running back room when we get O'Marion back too. So yeah, I do think we can make a run. And this weekend is going to be a really good test. I'm not going to put everything on it this weekend because, are we going to get Bobby Hart back? Is Deculus coming back? What's the new guy, Trevor Penning? Is he going to get up to speed and start week 1? Well, heck, Deculus did, right? So and he's been starting for the Saints. So offensive line scheme, relatively speaking, is pretty standard. Maybe some verbiage and some calls. But I would be absolutely flabbergasted if he's not out there protecting Justin's blind side on Sunday.
Yeah, I agree. The only other thing I have to say about this this game and this matchup is it can definitely be winnable. They've had it's just certain matchups and stuff. Yes, they beat the Chiefs. The Colts, but they also, I know this was game 1, but they also let Justin Fields and the Jets put up 33 points on them. So it's possible to put up those points on them. They do have 2 losses, so it's not like they're an undefeated, oh my gosh, it sounded like I was talking like that, but they're just a nightmare matchup for us that we can win. It's possible. But if we play like we have been playing, it's not going to work out. I'm telling everybody. We barely beat a Tennessee team. How can I not stress that enough? We barely beat a Dolphins team where Tua was sailing at 50 yards ahead of his receivers. Barely won. Lost to a rookie in his first game. We can't do that because they are a team that when they're supposed to win, they have. That's how it has been here this season. So I think they're really under a radar team. I'm not trying to give them too many flowers. I think they can I don't think they're Super Bowl contenders. I think they're deep playoff run contenders. But I definitely think that if we don't play perfect, we're going to easily lose this game for sure. So.
Yeah, and I think that's a valid point. And I suspect that the coaches are going to be stressing that all week in the position groups, which is, you guys are going to have to, take care of your business, no breakdowns, because, they're a well-coached team and they're going to come in, and they're going to play their brand of football. Can we beat them? Yeah. Will we beat them? I don't know. This is a tough prediction week for me because, my heart's going to pick the Chargers, period. But my head's going, there's just too many variables at this stage. There's just way too many variables for me to even try and compute what this game's going to be. Just our offensive line alone is such a scramble. So I'm probably going to pick with my heart this week versus with my brain. But Yeah, no, they're going to have to come in. Put it this way, they cannot spot these guys 14 points like we did to the Titans.
Yeah.
Okay. Not going to get away with that against this
Yeah,
team.
not going to happen there.
No, because this is the kind of game that could be 17-14, 14-13. This isn't necessarily going to be a 34-33 kind of game. So you cannot give these guys freebies. And so, this is why we watch. This is why we're fans. It's greatest reality TV in the world. And we're going to get to enjoy, unless it's blocked out, like Monday Night Football was blocked out for the entire country for some reason, unless you subscribe to some special channel that I'm not subscribed to, but it's Sunday Night Football, so we should be good to go on YouTube TV or NBC, but we're at that time, my friend. I mean, we could belabor this all we want. This is going to be a really good test. It's not the end-all, be-all, but it's going to be a really good test for this team and our coaching staff. Okay, they need to coach their asses off this week. So last week, let's see what our predictors were.
I know I wasn't even close.
Last week, we beat the Titans 27-20. Like I said, it should have been 27-6. Brennan, you went full Charger, and you were 28-0 Chargers, I believe, in this one.
27-6 would have been nice.
Yeah, you kind of could have been like, I would have given you the nod on that one if that's where it had been. And I was 34-13. I think I'm a tad closer to you, but I think we're nowhere near as the bullseye on that one. So we both got the W, but that's like red or black. But we didn't nail the number, so we're always happy to at least get the dub. And we got the dub, and we're sitting at 6-3, and we are knee deep in the playoff hunt. And that's all we can ask for when you consider everything we've gone through so far this season. It seems like we've already gone through a whole season and we're only halfway through the season, from the moment we last Rashawn Slater, right? So, you want to go first this week on Sunday Night Football, Chargers Steelers in SoFi?
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, so I think it's going to be a pretty close matchup. I do want to play devil's advocate again, but I'm just going to vote for the miracle. We got to all believe in this one. So I'm going to say that the Chargers pull it off with the last-second field goal, 24-21.
20? Oh, dude, that's awesome. I'm 23-21.
Oh my gosh! Okay.
Yeah. Talk about some symbiosis.
That is literally exact same. That's crazy.
Through the airwaves, yeah. I do think this is going to be a hard-fought battle. My heart's telling me the Chargers are going to be on the winning side of that score. I do think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be a hard, physical battle. And at the end of the day, my boy Justin is going to do some hero shit.
That's what he always does.
Yeah. I think he's at the point in his career now. He's pissed. And he's ready. Harbaugh's got him juiced and he's ready. He's like, I'll do what I need to do to go get these wins. And I think our boy's going to pull out some of that primetime heroic shit in SoFi Stadium. So let's hope we are both right on these scores. And while it's probably going to be a close game, we come out on the winning side of it.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for hanging out with us for another episode of ChargersCast. Brennan, dude, always a pleasure, man. Love talking Chargers football with you.
Yes, sir.
It's just the best. So appreciate you. We'll be back next week to go over the Week 10 game against the Steelers on Sunday Night Football in SoFi. Don't you guys dare miss it if you're true Chargers fans. There's no excuse. It's prime time Sunday Night Football. cancel whatever other arrangements you got because it's Chargers football. And then we'll also preview the following week, week 11, road game again, East freaking Coast against the freaking Jaguars. Jaguars actually got a team. They're playing pretty doggone good. And so that's not Jaguars of old.
We'll see, though. Travis Hunter out for
but they just made a trade. They just made a trade to replace him, did they not?
They could have, but probably not as good as Travis Hunter, so.
No, but we can talk about that. Let me just waste a minute of your time. They traded for... No, that's not who I'm thinking of. I thought they made a trade for a fairly good wide receiver. But yeah, that's what we've got in store for us, week 11. And again, another East Coast game. Seems like we're handling those better than the odds would normally predict, because typically West Coast teams going east don't fare as well as East Coast teams going west. So hopefully we keep that streak up. And we'll be here to kind of talk about how this new, whatever you want to call it, let's call it revamped, I guess, offensive line, how they're looking. And this is a hard one. This one we gotta really dig deep as Chargers fans, and you can't just obviously, look at the things that are obviously in front of you sometimes. And I think this is where what makes Harbaugh special. But Chargers fans, Brennan, who's got it better than us?
Nobody,
man. We're Chargers fans. We're in the fight. That's all you can ask for. So nobody's got it better than us. Go Bolts fans. Brennan, we'll hook up again next week and we'll do this once again like we've been doing. Bolt up. See you guys next week.
Bolt up.
Hi, I'm Kirk Brewer, the creator and host of ChargersCast. I just wanted to say thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of ChargersCast. We really appreciate you engaging with the podcast. When I created ChargersCast, it was intended to be a podcast about everything Los Angeles Chargers from a fan perspective. It's by fans and for fans. So it's for you, and we really appreciate you being here. If you haven't done so already, please go down below, leave a comment, give us some feedback. We really love to hear from you. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe and click the little bell so that you get notifications when new content drops. Again, thank you so much for tuning in to ChargersCast. And who's got it better than us? Nobody.